Hello, and welcome to the Wild Wonder podcast, where we seek to democratize and demystify holistic wellness practices with today's leading practitioners. I am your host, Kristen Llorca, and today we have the French love expert, Alexander Cormant. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Kristen.
So I have to know, what makes you the French love expert? How did you end up in this field?
This is a good question because I never thought that I would become a coach, to be honest. But just my journey in life introduced me to personal development. When I was 11, 12 years old, I got a mental coach because I was playing basketball at the highest level in France. So yeah, all my life was about basketball. This was just my dream.
Right.
So I studied NLP, hypnosis within, and it just helped me so much with my self-confidence, with my inner voice. Unfortunately, when I turned 19 years old, I broke my knee, cannot play any more basketball. So I had to find another way to build dreams and have a goal. And so I went to college and I studied human sciences. And when I went to college, I just realized that there's a lot of people that were codependent. So my best friend didn't spend time with us, always was crying when he was not with his girlfriend. And I told him, okay, no, I need to help you. So it was for fun in the beginning. But then I ended up with a blog, videos, people asking me advice. And so I decided that I wanted to be trained in coaching and NLP. So I became a love and relationship expert. I'm the number one in France with over 1 million subscribers on my YouTube channel. And with all my international YouTube channel, I'm close to 3 million subscribers. So
that's wild.
Yeah, that's why. Thank you so much. It was a lot of work, but I love so much what I do. I'm sure it's like you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I cannot do anything else now.
That's cool. When did the blog start? Just so we get an idea.
So the blog started in 2007.
Oh, wow.
So I was still in college writing articles about self-confidence, how to control the inner voice, how to love yourself. And it was more about being charismatic, having the life you want. And I was surprised because people liked it. And it was very much in the beginning of internet, especially in France. Maybe one or two other was real love coach. So I was in the beginning and I just loved it so much. This journey as a coach, as an entrepreneur, helping people gave me so much value in my life that I just didn't stop, basically.
That's beautiful. So you start this blog, and I imagine it takes off because so many of us are confused at best about relationships. From personal experience, I always felt like I was an alien dropped into this planet, and I'm just like navigating, like, what is it that humans do in order to be in relationship with each other? Which I think that led me down my path. It was my own struggle that helped me like really start to understand and unpack like what happens when humans interact and how can we do that in a better way. For you, did you ever have your challenges with relationships, or did you see it more like, oh, I think I have this figured out. I don't understand why other people don't have it figured out?
So I feel that there's a little bit of everything. The first thing that I wanted to do was helping my friends because it was not about love. It was about self-love in the beginning. I am not someone that I have like flaws. I have some wounds. I have things that I need to manage, of course, but I was very social. So I wanted to help people and my close friends to be more social, to love themselves more. The real things that just changed all my life was in 2011 because I lost my father. And I had such an amazing life. You know, I was playing basketball. I was paid to do what I love the most. So my parents always supported me. I have these two amazing parents. But the day I lost my father, it was a very difficult moment. But I love to say that I understood exactly my mistakes. I understood also what is love because I was doing something wrong. My parents were so much amazing that they gave to their children, my brother and myself, everything. And when I was in a relationship, I was doing the same. I was losing myself, kind of being codependent to give everything. But the day I lost my father, I realized that this was a bad pattern. So I decided that I wanted to talk about it. And this is why I specialize on love, breakup. How do we overcome this pattern that we are in?
Mhm.
And something crazy that I have done was to never read books about love. So I
Oh.
wanted to learn from my coaching. So
Mhm.
everything that I will share today or that I share on my YouTube channel come from real experience,
Mhm.
not something that I learn and just dispatch to other people. So that was a lot of people told me that that was a very stupid decision because you need to learn, you need to read, you need to understand. But I wanted to be focused on real experience.
Good experience.
So,
Mhm.
but yeah, what brings me to love was after losing my father, I understood a lot. And I decided that I wanted to share it. And I think this resonates a lot also with my community.
What was it exactly about your father's death that caused this journey? Was it that you realized that once the person um, giving you love or supporting you was gone, then there was kind of a hole that maybe you hadn't filled, or is that?
Yeah, this is, so I moved from my parents when I was 15 years old to play basketball.
Mhm.
And when you have people that support you, you don't realize that you can hurt them sometimes. So if
Hmm.
I was not spending time with him, I was not affectionate with him, even if I was still a good kid, I just disconnect.
Mm.
And I realized that after I was, oh my God, because when you lose someone,
Right.
that's where you realize what you're missing,
Mhm.
basically. And it was the same also in my relationship. I didn't know how to communicate my feelings. I didn't
Mm.
know how to express my needs. So for me, it's love. It's natural. It's normal. It's just about love. No.
Right.
The day I lost my father, I realized I need to learn how to love because
Mhm.
I didn't know how to love. I give attention. I was a nice person, but loving someone is an art. So this
Yeah.
is what I learned. So I started with my mother, of course, to take care of her, with my brother, my friends, now my wife. I try every day to love them because I understood that we are different.
Mhm.
So this is coming. The only book I read was The Five Love Languages. This is just an
Oh yeah.
amazing book from Gary Chapman. So I try to not love them with what I think is
Mhm.
good, but to love them with what they want, what they need. So this is what blew my mind when I lost my father. Is
Mm.
what I was thinking that I loved him,
Mhm.
but not in a sense that he wanted me to love him also. So put
Yeah.
myself in his shoes was very important.
I've been thinking about that specifically lately. I know you don't like to read love books, but if you do, I recommend Bell Hooks because she's a writer and an activist, and she talks about just that, about love as an action, love as a verb. Because I think many of us grow up either with families that are very supportive, or if we don't have families that are very supportive, we're watching these Hollywood movies where we're made to believe that love just happens. It's a feeling that takes over you, and then you're just in love, which it could be a train wreck, right? Like,
Exactly.
for both people. Um, so I love that idea of love as an action. Because it is so difficult. And then the five love languages, we even did the test when the book first came out, my husband and I. We couldn't be more opposite. So what you're saying is it hits home for me because when a person, you think you're giving love to somebody in a genuine way, say because you like to hear that you are loved, like verbally. So you give that out to someone, and they don't take that in because that's not how they're used to receiving love. Maybe they're more of like affection or hugs and kisses and all that stuff. And if you're not giving that, then they feel completely separate from you.
Yes, this is an amazing book. And the funny story, I was talking to my best friend after a
Mhm.
coaching, and I told him I learned something incredible. I was so proud of myself. I told him, we love the way we want to be loved.
Mhm.
And that's not a good idea because we are all different. We
Right.
have past experience, we have different families, different dreams. And he said, yes, this is in the book, The Five Love Languages. You didn't learn anything, right? This like someone, Gary Chapman did an amazing job. And I was, okay, I will read this book. And then it blew my mind
Yeah.
because I learned a lot, a lot. And I don't know if it was the same with your husband, but me and my wife, I tend to think that men, we have some difficulty to express with words. Even myself, I need to remind myself because it's not natural. As men, we cannot share our emotions. So saying, I love you, you're so beautiful today, for me, it was difficult. And she needs this. So I have to remind myself that the way she wants is not maybe the way I would express. So that is very important.
Yeah, actually, in our relationship, I'm the one that is less affectionate because of the way I was raised. I'm more the person that will do acts of love.
Okay.
So if I love you, I'll go out and I don't know, I'll get the groceries or I'll, help you out in some way, but I'm like less verbal. But it's interesting to know that we're all so different. And if we don't know that about each other, it's just a recipe for disaster.
Yes, because we think that that person will not love us or will not realize our value, but it's not the case. It's just there's different type of expressing loves, and understanding this for me makes me think that love is not natural. Love is not easy.
No.
We have to learn. But the more I talk to people in France, they realize that because we grew up with Hollywood, Walt Disney, love is easy, like this fairy tale.
Right.
If you love each other, it's enough. I'm not sure about that. We can love each other, but we need to make it work, basically.
And then that could make you feel like a failure. At least it did to me. I was like, why can all these, well, for me, it felt like everyone can figure out this love thing and I am struggling so hard. Like, why? What is wrong with me that I can't make this happen for me?
And this is so sad because that's the question I'm seeing the most on my YouTube channel. What is wrong with me? And so we took it personally. So we will lose self-confidence and we will repeat the same mistake because we don't know which path we should go. Right. So we stay on the same path. And like, I think it's Albert Einstein that said that foolishness is doing the same thing over and over, waiting for different results. So nothing is wrong with you.
Right.
There is just different path. You will figure it out. That's something very important.
And the self-love thing is key. I think that is tragic when people lose self-esteem because they think something is wrong with them. I think everyone hits I think you have to hit rock bottom sometimes before you start to lift yourself up. And I think I hit that rock bottom once, and that's when I started to really investigate, well, how much love am I truly showing myself? How well do I even know myself first? And then how do I show this person so much love that it like oozes out of me and it doesn't even matter if I'm in relationship or not? And then I think the second step was being able to dissect my relationships, because we're talking about romantic relationships, but we started off talking about your dad. And I think those relationships are also an act of love in action. So I think a lot of people, I have students that come to me too, and they think it's just about finding the one, right? But they don't see themselves as the one, and they don't investigate their own relationships, their friendships, their family. Do you have any tips for how somebody can begin to love themselves?
So, yes, I just want to say one thing right before, because this is funny. Everyone that come to me and ask me, Alex, how can I find love?
Right.
I would say you will never find anything. You will build love. So it's something that you have to build with your partner, someone that you will meet, because we don't find anything in life. Like we are part of the actions. Sure. So yeah, because that's the question. I coach a lot of women. They come to me and they ask me, Alex, how can I find a man? You will not find a man. You will just build something with a guy. And that changed completely their vision. So to start loving yourself, the first exercise that I have done, and when I did it, I was like, oh, this is bullshit. What is this? But then you do it and it's funny. Yeah. So it was just to write my qualities. Why am I a good person? And you start, it's difficult. Then you put one, okay, I'm honest, I'm respectful, I have values, I'm funny. And you start to see, wow, okay, this is who I am. For some people, it's difficult. I will consider that it's very important to ask the people around you. What are your friends and family telling about you? Because sometimes we are difficult or negative with ourselves, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing, I like to say the tool that changed my life was visualization. So just by closing my eyes and visualizing a different situation, for example, me speaking on stage with this confidence, I'm sending a message to my brain that the confidence is within myself. Because I have never met someone that has zero confidence. If you take your professional life or your passion, your hobby, you will see that when you do it, you enjoy it so much that you have this self-confidence. So it's within yourself. So the exercise that I want to share is very simple. Close your eyes tonight and imagine your best life and feel this emotion within yourself. Do it every single day during the next 10 days, let's say, 10 days to 15 days. And you will see that you will change the vision about yourself. What will be your exercise, Kristen? Because I'm learning a lot with you. I just took some notes also.
Your exercise just reminded me of you can't be what you can't see.
Yeah.
And I think for many people, they were raised in loveless lives. They led, maybe didn't have the best parents. Maybe they're in abusive situations, or when they started dating, they were stuck in these toxic patterns. So it's very hard to see, to even imagine that something could be different. Like I always, with friends and students, I've met women and you just want to like shake them. They're like, oh, I'm with this guy. And you'll be like, yeah, but he's cheating on you, or, you know, or he's never home, or he doesn't help out. And they'll say something like, well, all men are like that. And I'm like, well, no, just because we haven't met a man that's different doesn't mean they don't exist. You know, we might just be stuck in this pattern, and what we're visualizing for ourselves is that all men are the same. Yeah. So if you're visualizing your situation, as you're suggesting, as your most fulfilled, confident self that can also live this beautiful, blessed life, then there has to be a partner to share that with. I almost think it's like a selfish thought about oneself to think like, oh no, because no one can be as honest and great as me. There are just no men in the world that can like match that level. It's just impossible with so many people in the world.
Yeah, this is very powerful what you're saying. Very, very much powerful.
Yeah. So if the only other thing I would add to the visualization is when I spent 3 years single, because I knew, like really single, like I was not dating at all, because I knew I had to dissect what was going on. I couldn't believe that I was like, somebody as intelligent and accomplished as me could continue to be in the same relationship over and over again. So I took 3 years sabbatical and really dissected my life. I did EFT, I did emotional release therapy, you know, meditated, yoga. I really like learned about myself, and then learned how to love myself. And then the piece that really like began to shift things for me, I did visualize I like to write. So I would journal out what my day would look like in intimate detail. Like I wake up at 8 and my husband is there and it feels like this. And then we wake up and we get coffee and all that. But, you know, I had to put it in my universe. So I started filling my home with things that made me feel loved and would remind me of this person that I knew existed. And because I believe in a higher power, I also believed that I kept reminding myself, God didn't give me this much love just to hold on to it. You know, it has to be in me for a reason. And I believe the reason is to share it. And it was that hope matched with visualization and anchoring myself in my space that began to change my vision for my life.
Yeah, that's a very powerful tool. And what is funny is that I did the same, not 3 years, but 1 year. 1 year without dating, without sex, without relationship after I lost my father, because I wanted to love my life as it is and see the relationship as the cherry on the cake. Because if the relationship is your cake, it's too easy to fall into the codependency. It's just your life will be your partner, which is not good. I'm not saying that you should not be in a relationship, because now we are both married. But what I want to say is it should not be your cake, because the codependency is difficult. So during 1 year I did nothing, and I started to, but I love my time with my friends. I love my time with my family. I love my time with myself. That is very much important.
And it's funny, I know I've shared, maybe if you've been listening to me for a while, I've shared this before, but it was after those 3 years, I actually thought the universe was trying to tell me that I should just become like a Buddhist monk or something, right? I began to feel so grateful and blessed with my life and sharing. And I was, during those 3 years, I started teaching yoga, and I was sitting in meditation and prayer, and I thought, okay, cool. Like, relationships aren't my thing. I'll just go live on the ashram and I'll be blessed, And almost right at that moment, I'm not saying this is how it happens every time, but almost right at that moment, my now husband called or sent me a message. Wow. And we started talking on that day. But I wouldn't have been able to accept that call if I hadn't done all the work that led up to that day.
Yep.
I probably would have ignored it,
Everything happened for a reason.
Everything's a lesson, right?
Yeah.
But so we're both, well, my background is I'm Cuban American, first person born in this country, and you are French, born in France. And one of the difficulties for me was the differences in dating styles from the ones I grew up with to the ones that were here in the States. Did you feel that same way? Was it like kind of a strange ideology?
Yes, I felt, and I learned a lot, So I came to the US 5 years ago. I didn't speak English. So I had to learn English first, then learn the process of dating. Not for myself, because I met my wife immediately when I first came to Miami.
Did you?
Yes. So 3 months after, so it was almost immediate. But what was funny is, like, I used Google Translate to be able to communicate with her.
Oh my goodness.
But when we met the first time, there is this connection. That there is a connection, right? I am not really spiritual. That's why I love your podcast. I learned a lot with you, Kristen.
Yeah,
thank you so much for sharing this to the world. So I learned a lot, and I'm very not spiritual. But when I saw her, and I hope it's the same for her, but there is just something that matched, Even if we have difficulty to communicate, we knew that there is something in common. And so with her, it was wonderful. But before her, I traveled every year to the US. And I remember one day I was on a dating app just to feel the difference. I went on a date. The lady sit in front of me and started to get a notebook, a pen, and asking me questions, and write my question down, and like, this is love in America. I don't like it. French people, like Italian, Spain, Latin people, we are more in this attraction, seduction game. We love to flirt, to charm. And so I have found that in the US, there's a lot of code. You have to follow the rules. So in my philosophy as a relationship expert, I will try to break the rules and just share a little bit of French touch. But yes, for me, it was two different worlds. So I was blessed for myself. But when I have seen my friends, men or women, going on a date, being stressed, I was like, guys, you need to enjoy now.
Well, and it's so true. I mean, I despised going on dates in the States because most of the time it was exactly that. It felt like I was going on a job interview, and I felt like I should have brought my resume. And it felt like I had to make a decision like right then and there, whether this was going somewhere, which was so much pressure. Which is different than my culture. For instance, in Cuban American, most Latin families, you don't say you're dating unless you're engaged. So there's this idea of friendship and hanging out, and you could see multiple people. That doesn't mean you're sleeping with multiple people, but you could get to know a lot of different people in your circles. And it's not until you feel like, okay, this is something serious, that then you jointly make the decision to say that you're a couple. So I was always torn in my own life, like seeing my family and how they interacted or how they would explain dating to me and what I was actually experiencing out in the world.
Yeah, two different worlds.
Two different worlds. But your story reminded me of, my husband said he's an international yoga teacher. not so much anymore with COVID, but he
Yeah.
was in California teaching, and a friend of his had a dating app. And so messing around, he like checks out just like you to see what dating's like in America. And he sends a message to a girl like, hi, or whatever. And she writes back almost instantly, like, oh, what are you looking for? He's Italian. He's like, I don't know. I was just wondering if you'd like to hang out at the beach. And she's like, no, are you looking for a serious relationship? And it's, it feels like you almost have to make that decision instantly.
It's, I found that there's a lot of code in the dating in the US, and you have to make a decision, where in Europe, it goes with the flow. That doesn't mean that, because here you can date multiple people.
Right.
In France, I have found that it's not really the case. Like when you start something to get to know someone, you will not try to go on and to cheat, basically. Right. I'm not saying that we are perfect, but most of the time it's implicit. We don't say words, but we build something. Here you have to say words. So when we first date, and I was on the phone with my friends 3 months after, and I said, yeah, my girlfriend, it was for me natural. And she said, but you didn't ask me to be your girlfriend. I was like, what is wrong with you? It was like, okay, because normally you have to ask me. I was like, okay, we have seen each other for 3 months. We are having sex together. I mean, we are in a relationship, no?
Right.
And she said, yes, but you need to ask me. I said, okay, would you like to be my girlfriend? So I was amazed by this situation. So for us, it was mostly to joke with the difference, but I can feel why people are lost, completely lost. I'm not saying like the American process is not good, but I'm saying that there is an in-between for me that is the perfect world, right? Not too much of a game like it could be in France or Italy or Spain or like Latin, let's say Latin culture, and not too much code or rules like in the US. I like the in-between, basically.
How do you navigate that with your clients?
So the French people, I try to give them a little bit of American philosophy, because there's a lot of women that are scared also to share what they want. I cannot say this because I will lose him. No, there is a moment you need to express what you want also. Maybe not on the dating app first message, but there is a moment you need to share it. And for American people to learn the process of attraction, there is a word, when I first came, I was doing videos with I still have a strong French accent, but my first videos was horrible, but I didn't care. I wanted to share it to the universe. And I was using the word seduction. Seduction for us is very much important. But one of my friends told me, Alex, no, you cannot say that. That is sexual. I was, no, that is attraction. That is flirt. So this is what I try to bring to make them enjoy the process, you know? So for example, when I coach a woman, I will ask her to organize a date that she has never done before. Same thing for the man. So if you want to have a date, let's enjoy. Let's quit the restaurant, the coffee, the drinks that are not maybe what you want. And maybe you want to innovate and do yoga for you first, or go on the beach and just enjoy a run. That's why I try to just bring to the people I coach, basically.
That's good. Yeah, I remember being asked on coffee dates, and I would avoid them like the plague. I'd be like, oh God, no, please. I'm going to sit there and get grilled like I'm asking for a job for an hour, and then I'm going to have to find some reason to escape. No. Do you feel like the two, are there, and let me rephrase this. So are there clients in France that have a very specific, like more often have a very specific challenge? And then the same thing for in the US. Is there a very specific challenge here that you think people are trying to navigate?
So basically, even if there is two different types of dating and culture, I would say that in the world, it's the same thing. Codependency. I want this man, but he doesn't want to commit. I'm always giving more than what I receive. Or we broke up, what should we do? Because the routine of the relationship. So it will be in Asia, in South America, everywhere the same thing, but their behavior is not the same. So for example, in the US, they will be too direct when they need to be a little bit playful with someone, right? In France, They will not be direct, and that's their problem. Like in China,
Okay.
they will never express what they really want, right? In South America, I found that sometimes they will be too in the masculine energy for women, so they need to be a little bit less directive, for example. But the problems I'm seeing for everyone the same. And I was surprised by this because I can coach people from all over the world now, and they have the same problems regarding their age, culture, religion, skin colors, whatever. The same problem happened.
That's funny that you bring that up because we were on your website, my husband and I, and we're like, oh my goodness, there's a woman from India left a review. How do you navigate dating in India? But you have.
Yeah.
I guess, what do you think it like unites us all? Is it just our wants and our needs are the same? You know, we're all just trying to figure it out.
And I feel that we all receive the same education. Coming from your family, so you have to follow the rules. Coming from Walt Disney, so you have to dream. So it's the same education, basically. We all have experienced the same wounds. You know, I lost my father. If you take someone in India that lose her father or his father, will be the same thing, the same pain, the same journey that we have to experience, right? So we are all human. And that's why I found it's not about where you are in the world, or we are all human. We experience the same pain, same situation. We want to be loved. We want to be in a relationship that we enjoy. It's for everyone in the world. So, but yes, there is some behavior that would change, but the problems, let's say the problems or the goals are the same. And
you're in a multicultural relationship. I'm in a multicultural relationship. I'm sure you have clients that are. What are the challenges to bridging the gap? I know what they are for me, but I wonder if you could provide some examples of how we bridge that gap when we're from two different countries.
That is a good question. To be honest, I just decided, that's very personal. I just decided to only look at the good points. So I maybe turn off my brain on like the problems, the thing that, you know, she wants, or like she can do that would hurt me, and vice versa, I guess. But for me, it was really about communication, like really about expressing, oh, you're doing this, but for me, this is weird. No, this is for me natural. This is so, you know, for example, in France, we are not too big about Christmas or Valentine's Day. We like it. We would do something. But here in the US, it's 10 times what happened in France, right? So I was always amazed by all of this energy, time, effort that she would. And I was like, you don't have to do it. But I realized that this is very much important for her, you know? And she has like, she's from Puerto Rico, her mother. So she has different type of culture. So communication was key, very much the most. And I was expressing, you know, for me, Christmas, I've never had a tree in my house. Yes, we were celebrating Christmas, but it was not like, so I had to change this culture for me. Another thing that I found was very important was to share, for example, it's not just about culture, but I love basketball. I asked her to come to watch basketball with me. She loved art, so she took me to Art Basel in Miami, and I was like, oh, I don't want to go, but spending time with her was amazing. So of course, when we just travel all over France, I show her. So I wanted her to be introduced in my world. That was the best way for me to express to her, okay, this is my world, this is who I am, so you can understand me better. And we went to Puerto Rico, I went to California with her, so because she grew up there. So that's where I was able to understand, oh, okay, so I came from, you know, my parents, we came from a family that we had hard time, but her, it was worse. So I understood, oh, this is where, okay, so now I can understand your behavior. I don't know if I respond to your question, but communication and being in the world of each other, that's where I really realized that we are different, because the connection is so strong. Sometimes what I feel is what she feels. No, that's not true. Even if we love each other, right? It's really not the truth. So understanding the pain she went through, understanding everything, I was able to, really deeply connect with her.
Yeah, I think what you're speaking to is the spirit of curiosity and also adventure. I think when we create these visions for ourselves, as you suggested, sometimes we could get so set as like, this is how things should be, especially us Americans, right? No, we made the plan and now things work like this. And we don't take into consideration this whole different person with their whole different experiences and different background, different culture. And I think when I work best with my husband is when I'm in that spirit of curiosity and adventure, of kind of meeting the person for the first time instead of thinking you already know them and how things are supposed to move and work.
Yeah, that is very good advice also. And this is my philosophy. Always look at the first time, the good things. I'm not trying to be mad. I'm not trying to, because it's so easy to make someone mad if you don't have the same culture, the same education. So yeah, we have to be careful. For me, we have to be careful about what we do, what we say in relationships. So, but I don't know if you feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I just learned so much being with someone that is very much different in a sense, right? So I think it's a blessing. So if you are in a situation like mixed couple, you should know that it's a blessing that you will be able to learn to grow your children. I think that you have children, not me yet, but
I have one, yeah.
yeah. So imagine the culture, like your children, that's the children of the world. So I see this in my family. We have Chinese people, we have Arabic people, we have African people. We have like such a different culture.
United Nations.
Yeah, it's a United Nation, and we are very close to each other. So I guess this is what I want to share is like, if you're in a mixed couple, you can bring a lot of good things from each part. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going back to that Bell Hooks book, All About Love. She speaks to that love is meant to be transformative. So that's the work. It brings us to transformation. It's not supposed to answer all of our heart's desire. It's supposed to bring us to a new level of understanding. Right. So
I
think
will read this book. I'm going
I'll send
to.
it to you.
Yeah, sounds good. I love it.
But I think so. Then it's true that opposites do attract, or opposites at least can be transformative.
I will say that opposite. Okay, that's tricky, this question, because normally I will say we have to find someone that is kind of like us. I'm more someone that will stay home. I like to travel, of course, but I like to be home. I like to enjoy what I have. So if my wife was like someone that don't want to stay home, that would have been difficult for me, right? But I feel that we can just learn so much by different culture. So I would say both sentence where we say that opposite, are meant to be each other, or we like to find someone that we are the same. I think that we have to be in between, basically.
Yeah. They could be complementary, but they don't have to be completely opposite.
Yeah. So deeply we are the same, but there is a lot of details that are not the same. And this is what I love, because as you said, you learn every day, basically.
Going back, because we jumped over, and before we go, I want to get back to seduction, because it is such a taboo word in America. And but since we speak Spanish and Italian in my house, we often have this conversation about how different that meaning is. And I think for Americans, seduction is it's sex. Like, how do you trick someone into having sex with you? Can you define how you would define seduction, or how your understanding of it?
So the seduction for me is the art of attract, please, surprise, and connect with someone. So seduction is important in the dating process, because you want to, if you like someone, you want to be the one in their eyes, right? And it's also important in the relationship, because this is how you maintain love. So the word that I like the most close to seduction is flirting. We like to flirt, we like to engage, we like to play some games, not games in the sense of trick, but games in the sense of, oh, I will create an amazing date, you will love it, but I cannot tell you what activities. So you're surprised, you create this intensity in a relationship. And I found that Latin people are very good for this, and French people. We are like, this is part of our culture, to enjoy the process of flirting, attracting, pleasing, charming. and courtship, this is very much important. That's my philosophy. So it's really not about how to manipulate someone to have sex. That is really not my meaning of seduction, basically. And what I like to say is this seduction or attraction process, dating, but also in a relationship, because I've seen too many people. I specialized during years, and I still do, on how to get back with someone, how to save a marriage. So many people get complacent. Oh, yeah, we got married, so we stopped doing any efforts. Oof, you will need a relationship expert very soon. So attraction and seduction, it's every single day, but it doesn't start to please, it's not to please your partner. It's always start with yourself, to love yourself. I like the way I dress today. So today I want to get a massage, so I will organize a special moment. Start with your needs, basically.
Especially now, I find it so funny that now, since we're self-quarantining, and all of a sudden I'll be surprised when my husband will dress up in a suit or something for dinner, and I'm like, where are we going? He's like, I just wanted to look nice, and it was awesome. It's an awesome surprise,
Yeah, that is.
And then I'll do it too.
That's so important. So important. And I think that your husband is Italian, so for them it's like next level.
Yeah. But what you're saying is so true. I remember when I first started teaching yoga, I was teaching privates, and some of the first calls I would get were women whose children had just gone off to college, and they're kind of having this crisis of who am I? And inevitably, 9 out of 10, they would tell me they wanted to leave their husbands. And as we started talking more and dissecting, I'm not a therapist, I was strictly teaching yoga and listening. They would tell me that they've kind of been in this rut for a long time. And I feel it was because they got complacent and they focused all their energy on their career or their children. And then when their children are gone, they don't have that focus anymore. And they're kind of wondering, who are we in this relationship? And I see that as a warning. I hold that in my heart. We cannot stop flirting and dating and playing this game of seduction, or we end up in a place where we're strangers living in the same house.
And that's happened to a lot of people, because I just feel when we grow up, our goals or dreams should be to have a family, to have kids, to have a house, to have the garden with the dogs that run. But once we have this and the kids get 15, 16, 18 years old, they are independent. They don't want to stay home. They don't care about you anymore. Oh, but what do I want? And this question, who I am, what do I want? That's what creates a lot of crisis in relationship for men and women. Because, oh yeah, but I wanted to do this. I just dedicate my life to my husband, to my wife, to my children. And the best thing you can do is to balance your lives. You have your personal life, your professional life, your love life, your family life, your friends life, and all of these 5 lives needs, and your spiritual life, we can add, all of these lives needs to be balanced.
Yes.
If you focus only on work, one day you will wake up in burnout for sure.
Right. So with couples, especially now during the pandemic that we can't go to as many places, do you have any suggestions for keeping the love alive?
That's not an easy time. In France, they were locked down for almost a year now. So I understand that it's a difficult time. But also in the difficult time, if you are really meant to be together, if you can raise and just support each other. So what I like to say is most of the time you want to have your own time. And it starts in the morning. So every people that I coach, I ask them to get a routine morning without their partner, just for themselves. To read books, to meditate, to do yoga, to do gym activities. Really to focus on themselves, because the first thing in the morning, if you can get some positive energy, it will last for the day. And try to do new activities. So the idea that I share on the radio in France was very funny for a lot of people, but even for me, I was surprised. Couples that are doing karaoke. I have a lot of coaches that are doing karaoke at home, just for fun.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, that was are you doing this? And it's funny because it was coming from men. They said, okay, I will try this. I was like, are you sure? Okay, just try it. Let me know how it goes. Alex, it was amazing. We had this fun. We just went at bed at 2 a.m. in the morning. And so just doing new things that you have never experienced. You can also play, I think it's a Wii, the game on TV, you can play real games like Monopoly or like Uno, just to have spent time. But the thing I asked first was to cook together with music. Try to implement this because that's part also of seduction. Of course, we have all the massage and all the attention in the room that is very much important. But it's basically to find a balance between time for myself, like I don't want to see him or her, and then at night we can spend time together, right? It's not easy when it lasts for 1 year, but I guess it's possible to continue to find some new ideas.
It's possible if you keep reminding yourself. I felt about 2 months ago, I was getting very sad. And I just felt like in meditation, what came to me was, I feel like I'm with the people I love all day, but I don't feel together with them. I don't feel like we're sharing. I don't feel like we're enjoying each other's company. We just happen to be sitting next to each other. So it's a constant reminder. And that morning practice, especially if you have little ones at home, is everything to me right now. I got really lazy for the last month or so, and I was sleeping in. I was doing the whole Italian thing. We're going to sleep in till 9 and have a giant breakfast. But for me, it was, my husband could do that. He's great. He could have like the 5-course meal at 11 in the morning and it's fine. But I needed that time in the morning, and I started doing it again, and it changed my whole day, because then when I was present with my family, I was truly present and enjoying their time instead of feeling overwhelmed and like not myself. And then second point, when you said that get a new skill or trick or thing to do, I bought roller skates.
Ooh, that is cool. That is very cool.
And actually, it was a friend in France that I met through a woman that purchased one of our cards in our shop, who introduced me to her daughter that skates in Paris. And that's how we ended up all going roller skating in the afternoons now. That's so cool. And, there is 2 ways to look at the COVID situation. It's everything is difficult. The world is going crazy. I'm not happy. I cannot have my freedom. I cannot travel. I didn't see my family for 1 year. Or you can just tell yourself, okay, I can connect with myself. What do I really want to do that I've never done in my life? And trust me, today you will find the time to do it. So just by doing new activities like this, you will enjoy and you will be able to connect with yourself. And then you're a better partner. And also, if you're not in partnership, you're just a greater person to be around. That's true. Well, like I would have never met you if there was no COVID, because I would have never started this podcast. Yeah, that's true. And that's amazing, because you're giving a lot to the world. So you need to continue. Before we go, because we've almost been here an hour, I would love for you to share all the things you have going on and how people can work with you. Of course. So thanks so much for letting me talk about my practice. So basically, you can find everything under French Relationship Expert. So you have a YouTube channel, you have my Facebook page and my website also. I encourage you, if you can, it's just to come to my website, FrenchRelationshipExpert.com. You have free gift, because I translated one of my book. It's a bestseller in France. It's called The Truth About Love. And it's basically the misconception that we have, I have to give. No, you can also receive and you can be. You have to be yourself, not to give. Because if you seek love just by giving, you will always end up being needy and also being unsatisfied. So this book for me is very important. It helps hundreds of thousands of people. So if you want to come, it's for free. You can have the ebook version. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's very generous. I think that's so important for people to read. I cannot tell you the number of mainly women that tell me all the things they do for their partner or the person they were dating, and then they're baffled by why it didn't work out. And from the outside, you're like, of course, it didn't work out. It's a mess from the beginning. Yeah. But when you're in it, you don't see it. And I think reading a book sometimes puts it right in front of you, so you recognize kind of the missteps you're taking in your own relationships. Yeah, reading books is very important. That changed a lot of things. So I will start by reading all about love. Yeah. I'll send it to you. We'll also put your website and all of your notes in the show notes. for everyone to find. And you guys should definitely follow the French relationship expert on YouTube because those videos are awesome. And otherwise, thank you so much for taking the time to share all your knowledge and wisdom with us.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Thank you, everyone that was listening. I wish you all the best.
Thanks so much, Alex. I'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Now, if you'd like to join us on the Wild Wonder podcast live, we have shows twice a month, and all you have to do is go to patreon.com/Wild Wonder. You can also find out about our events and workshops and trainings around the world at wearewildwonder.com. See you soon.